Looking back on Google Glass over a decade after its ill-fated launch, is it fair to say that it was way ahead of its time? Well, back in 2013, the idea of smart glasses sounded like something straight off the pages of a dystopian novel. Google were planning on pushing the world into a new era, one in which wearable tech will replace the need for smartphones completely. Well, as you're aware, that hasn't necessarily been the case, but it still remains a truly ambitious goal that many tech companies today are still aiming to be the first to reach. Google Glass, simply known as Glass, had a bunch of pretty cool and innovative features for its time. Like, it could take pictures, record videos, get directions, Google stuff, and even make voice and video calls as well. Amazing, right? But if it had all these great features over a decade ago, so why did it fail? To understand why Google Glass was pulled out of the market just 2 years after its launch, we're gonna have to rewind a little bit. But before we do, please make sure to subscribe if you haven't, and hit that like button on this video. It really helps my channel grow. Also, don't forget to turn on notifications so you don't miss out on any of my tech content. Back in 2011, Google started developing under Google X, Google's very own cutting-edge secret research and development facility located in Mountain View, California. Although it's not really that secret anymore and you can now access loads of information on their projects via their website, Google X was founded in 2010 and was given the task of creating bleeding-edge technology that would improve life for the average human by a factor of 10. So basically, by a lot. Later that year, a Google Glass prototype surfaced. It looked like standard glasses, except for the lens, which was replaced by a heads-up display. By 2013, they had improved it so much that it was now lighter than an average pair of sunglasses. It was a technological breakthrough, but it came at a steep price, with the preview version costing $1,500. In May 2012, Google demonstrated for the first time to the public how the Google Glass could be used to shoot videos. And in April 2013, the Explorer Edition was made available to Google I/O developers in the US. When it finally launched to the public, it flopped. And here are some reasons why. Number one is eye cost. Google Glass was initially priced at $1,500, making it pretty inaccessible to the average consumer. The eye cost compared to the personal tech devices at the time limited its adoption and hindered its mainstream success. Number two was limited use cases. While it had some amazing features, the functionality of Google Glass was still really limited, especially for people used to mobile phones, which did more and cost way less. Google Glass was primarily focused on capturing photos and videos, getting directions and basic web searches, and lacked a compelling use case that would make the average person ditch their smartphone for these glasses. Number three was technical limitations. The hardware of Google Glass, including its battery life and processing power, had limitations that affected its usability and performance. The battery life of the device was laughable to say the least, averaging just 3 hours for the average charge. In comparison, the average smartwatch today has between 12 to 48 hours of battery life. And number four was developer interest. The ecosystem of third-party apps and developers for Google Glass did not gain significant traction. Developers weren't making apps for Google Glass, and the lack of a thriving app ecosystem further limited the device's utility and appeal to customers. These four reasons went a long way towards hindering Google Glass's huge potential. But there's one more reason, one that usually goes under the radar, but was probably the most important reason why Google Glass failed to take off. Let's talk about it. You see, when I said Google Glass looked like something straight out of a dystopian novel, I wasn't kidding. George Orwell predicted in his classic sci-fi novel in 1984 about concerns of constant surveillance and a lack of privacy, and these fears began to build up due to Google Glass's inbuilt recording capabilities. Before the public launch of Google Glass in May 2014, One of the major privacy concerns was that it could be used to record people without their permission. People were already bothered by being tracked through mobile phones, computers, and other pieces of tech, but something about Google Glass felt more personal, and much more intrusive. Maybe because it was shaped like a pair of glasses, or maybe because it was really small in comparison to other mainstream AR, VR headsets. There was some backlash after the product launch, including protests. Google Glass users got kicked out of bars, hassled on the street, and even banned from entering certain public places. They were even referred to by anti-glassers as glassholes. So yeah, it was such a crazy time. Privacy advocates were concerned that people wearing Google Glass would be able to identify strangers in public using facial recognition or secretly record and broadcast private conversations, and it had now grown into a full-blown resistance movement. Google Glass flaws and all really made an impression in the tech industry. It was like the pioneer of wearable tech, paving the way for stuff like smartwatches and those fancy AR and VR gadgets we see today. Now, back then, one of the big challenges for Google Glass was privacy issues, but honestly, I think it was just too futuristic for its own good. Because fast forward to today, where we're all walking around with tech on our bodies, VR headsets, smartwatches, you name it. Plus, social media has dialed up to 11. People are practically sharing their sandwich choices on there. We've got TikTokers, live streamers, and your everyday social media fanatics. So if Google Glass dropped today, I bet it wouldn't ruffle as many feathers as it did back then. I mean, look at how wearable tech businesses has blown up in the last few years. It's a whole industry now worth over a whopping $50 billion. Just this September, Meta unveiled their own smart glasses in collaboration with Ray-Ban, and it's created quite the buzz. Some say it's got a few nods to the OG Google Glass, like the inbuilt video tricks and a camera for social media POV streams. And not to be outdone, Apple is about to drop their own $3,500 AR VR headset, which is probably one of the most hyped products of 2024. So what's your take? Will Meta's glasses hit the same bumps in the road as Google Glass? Let me know in the comments. That's the end of this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more product breakdowns like this one. Until next time.